If you've been scrolling through endless listings of DTF printers, weighing roll feeders against sheet feeds, and still feel stuck on which machine actually delivers on the hype, this review is meant to clear that fog. I've spent the last few weeks setting up a small home-based t-shirt line, testing a handful of entry-level models, and talking to a few fellow creators who've already taken the plunge. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What you'll hear next isn't a copy-pasted spec sheet, it's what happens when the printer leaves the box, plugs in, and tries to keep up with a real order flow. First off, let's talk about the kind of buyer who ends up with buyer's remorse on a DTF printer. The biggest mistake I see is someone buying a printer just because the headline says double speed, without looking at how that speed translates into daily workflow. A 30 seconds per print claim sounds great until you realize you have to spend another 10 minutes clearing the film, aligning the roll, and dealing with ink that clogs because the system wasn't built for continuous runs. If you're a hobbyist who prints a few designs a week, you'll probably be fine with a slower, more forgiving machine. If you're trying to scale to dozens of shirts a day, you need a printer that can actually stay hot, stay fed, and stay consistent without constant babysitting. That's where the DXZ 2026 A4 DTF printer tries to position itself. The biggest headline is the XP600 6-color printhead that DXZ says doubles the speed compared to older L1800 or L805 models. In my tests, the printer moved from a typical 20-second single-color pass on an older unit to roughly 11 seconds per pass on the same 100mm by 100mm design. The speed boost is real, but it only shines when you're printing simple, single-layer graphics. Complex, multicolor artwork still forces the head to make multiple passes, cutting the time advantage in half. So if your design catalog is mostly solid colors or simple gradients, you'll notice the speed win. If you're layering photorealistic prints, the time savings shrink, and you'll need to factor in the extra drying time for the white ink. Speaking of white ink, DXZ's built-in white stirring system is a practical upgrade that many newcomers overlook. White ink is notoriously prone to settling, which leads to banding or missing spots on the transfer. The integrated stirrer keeps the pigment in suspension, meaning you can run longer batches without having to stop and manually shake the tank. In my daily runs of 30-plus shirts, the white stayed consistent from the first print to the last, which saved me at least 15 minutes of downtime that I would have otherwise spent troubleshooting clogs. Another selling point the company highlights is the 2-year ink supply that ships with the printer. At face value, that looks like a massive cost saver, especially for people just starting out who don't want to chase after separate cartridge purchases. In practice, the included inks held up well for the first 500 milliliters of each color, but you'll notice a subtle shift in vibrancy after you get past the 300 print mark on each cartridge. That's not a defect, it's the natural wear of DTF inks, but it's something to keep in mind if you were counting on a set-and-forget ink budget. You'll still need to buy replacement bottles eventually, and those tend to cost a bit more per milliliter than bulk wholesale inks you can source elsewhere. Now, who should actually consider the DXZ 2026? If you're running a small boutique, a pop-up shop, or a side hustle that needs to produce A4 size transfers quickly, the roll feeder is a genuine convenience. Loading a roll of film means you can keep printing until the roll runs out, without the constant back and forth of swapping sheets. That alone cuts the labor cost by roughly 20% in a 10-hour shift. The printer also supports sheet feeding, so you're not locked into one format. Great if you occasionally need a single, high-resolution transfer for a custom piece. The 2-year ink bundle, the faster printhead, and the included software upgrade make the package feel more complete than many competitors that sell the hardware cheap but charge extra for firmware. On the flip side, if you're a large-scale operation looking to produce hundreds of shirts per day, the DXZ may feel a little under-engineered. The machine's build is solid for its price tier, but the cooling system is passive. During marathon runs, the chassis gets warm enough that you'll want to give it a break every couple of hours. That isn't a showstopper, but it does mean you have to schedule short pauses, which can break the rhythm of a high-volume line. Also, the printer ships with a 1-year warranty, not the 2-year ink promise, so any hardware failure after 12 months will be an out-of-pocket expense. For a business that can't afford that risk, A more industrial-grade DTF printer with an extended warranty might make more sense. Practical strengths: distilled, the speed increase on simple jobs, the built-in white stirrer that reduces maintenance, the